What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Footy Review. You already know what it is. We're talking about UCL week number 2. Let's get into Group F, aka Real Madrid's super difficult group. And we'll start with Real Madrid with a 2-0 win over Leipzig. Fernando, I already know what you're going to say.
Let's hear your opinions first.
Look, Madrid did not play amazing, but it's the same thing. Again, in the second half and in the closing minutes of the game, get the job done, secure the bag. And we did it again. It wasn't that many outstanding individual performances. Obviously, Fede Valverde is turning into a superstar in the team and coming up big in big moments for us when it seems like we're not going to get 3 points, and he gets the goal that turns the game around. It wasn't a great performance, but it's a win, and that's Madrid's play style, is just win, baby, just win.
I guess you can't argue with results, but like you said, it wasn't astonishing performance. Somehow 80 minutes plus is always where you guys end up scoring, regardless of how the game looks. The first half, I'll say the game was pretty even. I would even say that Leipzig had a couple more chances than you guys did. That were like convincing chances.
No, Leipzig was the better, especially in the first half. Leipzig was the better team.
Yeah, for sure. And so I don't know, man. Like, I'm not going to get into, all the things that I usually say about how Madrid played, but, Leipzig, for their credit, they looked good, especially against a team like Real Madrid. Even though it seems like that's kind of the way it goes. You can look good against Madrid for as long as you want, but at the end of the game, they're going to put in a couple goals. What I will say, though, is that I do think Madrid could have had a lot more chances than they did. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that you guys don't have Benzema in the middle kind of controlling that game. What I saw was a lot of fast, hard balls into the box, and then the touch just wasn't there for Madrid. Whether it was Rodrigo getting it, Vinicius getting it, even a couple times Valverde, even though Valverde is much more refined on his touch. But the ball comes in, and then the first touch just gets away from whoever's receiving the ball. Usually Benzema can calm that ball down, either stop it dead or get a quick pass off, which, goes to what we've always been saying about how he's much more than just a striker. He's a creator, a playmaker, and he can do that regardless of where he is on the field, whether he's dropping into the middle or, inside the box. But you can really see Madrid missing the presence of Benzema. And, I think that, at least in my opinion, it looks like it's putting a bit more of a strain on Vinny than the kind of pressure he did before.
No, I agree with that. And let's stick with this Benzema theme for a little bit. So, everybody was off yesterday. Vinny has been carrying the team amazing, like trying to get us over the line, and especially in La Liga games since Benzema went down. And he's been doing a great job. Yesterday against Leipzig wasn't his night. It wasn't his night, and that's fine. But we needed individuals to pick up the pieces where Benzema is not going to be there. And so far we've gotten that. Like last night it was Valverde. Before that in La Liga, it was Rodrigo and Vinny. So yes, the link up play and the flowing attack isn't as easy on the eye and not as appealing as it usually is with Benzema. But for me, we've gotten all the points possible in the season so far. I think we've played 8 games and we got 8 wins. So yes, the game, the play style isn't as good without Benzema, but so far the team has picked up the slack and passed the test. So, and we have a big game coming up this weekend against Atleti in the derby, but then after that, we have 2 weeks off for international break. I think Benzema will probably be back immediately after that. And if not right after, then maybe in a week. So if we get this win versus Atleti, I don't think you can complain to the team that, obviously we're dependent on Benzema in order for the style of game that we want to play, but we got the points and we got the wins. So it's hard for me to complain about that.
No, I get that. It's hard to complain when the results come in. I kind of disagree just slightly on, what you're saying about, other pieces coming in and picking up the slack that Benzema leaves behind. Yes, you have pieces that will get the ball in the net, sure. And maybe that is, if that's your definition of picking up the slack, sure. But I think that when the play style just goes so differently and so much more kind of unrefined, for lack of a better word, it doesn't. I don't think that there's pieces that are picking up the slack that Benzema leaves behind. I think that you guys
In
just have
terms of the play style, yes,
but I just think you guys have individuals that at some moment can make something happen. And
but
again,
look,
if that's your definition of picking up the slack, then fine.
but
You-
Benzema is a key part to the team, So
exactly.
in
That's
order,
kind of my point.
my point is, like, in order for us to contend for La Liga and for Champions League, we need Benzema back. That's a fact. But the fact of the matter is, he was going to be out for a month. So what are you going to do for that month?
For the month, yeah.
And so far, players have stepped up. It's obviously, if we had to plan the whole season with this squad minus Benzema, that's a different conversation. But that's not the fact of the matter. The fact of the matter is Benzema is coming back, and we need to just stay above Barca and in the league, and then obviously, try and qualify out of the Champions League group as early as possible. And so far, we're on pace to do that.
Yeah, sure. No, I get that. Fair enough. I do want to get to some of my at least criticisms of Madrid. First of all, I still don't think Camavinga is a starter.
Yep, agree.
He looks, I don't know what it is about him starting a game, but he looks a little slower, a little less aware. I don't want to say clumsier, but he loses the ball. I don't know what it is about him coming off the bench. Maybe he really is just needs to play against a tired opponent. I don't know, but he doesn't look like a convincing starter to me. Tchouaméni, absolutely. You know what I mean? Like he gets it done in the middle. I thought he was one of your better players, just especially in that middle. He holds it down. He knows, where to get the ball. He can get out of a tight situation because he's very technical, even on the ball. But Camavinga is the opposite, in my opinion. Even though he is a technical player and he has flashes of brilliance even when he plays poorly, but it wasn't it for me this game for Camavinga. And then on your third midfielder, I have to say Modric had a very good game.
No, I agree with Camavinga. Look, he's very young, and I think
but Tchouaméni is about the same age. Like he might even be younger.
No, Tchouaméni is like 3 years older than Camavinga. Camavinga is 19 and Tchouaméni is 22.
He's 22. All right, fair enough.
So I was going to say the Tchouaméni comparison for me is a little bit unfair because Tchouaméni has had a few more years to become a more seasoned
players that do. I mean, like there are super young players that kind of just burst out onto the scene, and regardless of where they're playing.
Yeah, but also like there's a reason why Madrid paid 85 mil for Tchouaméni is because this dude is already established. He's even a starter for France, and when for Camavinga. He was a great young player with high potential when we got him, and we got him for I think it was under 30 million. So it was more of a future play, and Tchouaméni was more of a right now play for Madrid. So Camavinga is young, and we've seen what he can do when he's on it. And honestly, considering how young he is, for him to just be a impact player off the bench this season, if he can get in most games off the bench, that's a good season for him to pick up experience. And it's not like we have to put him out on loan. He's shown the quality that he's good enough for this team. I think it's just while he's young and while he's learning the game, picking and choosing the moments when we're going to put him in. I agree. So far, he's had maybe 2 or 3 starts this season, and it's just not the same player starting from the beginning of the game. There's definitely more maturing needed for him, but he will have an important role this season. That's a fact.
Was he not brought in with like kind of high expectations though? Because I feel like
I personally didn't know who Camavinga was when Madrid signed him. I had no idea who he was. So I don't know if
fair enough, me neither really, but I heard a lot of hype around him. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I thought it was a lot of hype for the new kid. I don't know. I just feel that there are players that, do come in, even when they're, 17, 18, 19, 20, that kind of just, pick it right up and are starters right away. Not to, make the comparison like in terms of like Barca Madrid, but players like Gavi and Pedri are already starters no matter what, and they're the same age. So, and again, I'm not trying to make that comparison. It's more talking about Camavinga specifically. Those are just the players that come to mind because I'm a Barca fan. But in terms of Camavinga, at least especially when you need a player that's going to take up a role like that, because behind Cruz, if Valverde is going to keep playing on the wing, which I don't think he should, even though you guys kind of have to do that with Benzema out,
yeah.
with Benzema out. But behind Cruz, at least at the moment, there really is no one else, and you do have to rotate that squad.
No, I agree, but even with Camavinga playing poorly, it seems like the team is able to overcome and still get the result. So even if you have to put him in like for rotation minutes, like today, Kroos got the rest. So right. Yes, I mean, and he came in the 81st minute and got an assist to Asensio. So I mean, like we have either, like you can go either way. If you want to give Kroos a rest or Modric a rest, you can put in Camavinga. He's going to give you the work rate. Like he might struggle with decision making and things like that, but with experience he will get better. It's hard for me to be too hard on Camavinga right now. He has a very bright future. I don't want to shit on the kid. He's gonna
fair enough.
He's gonna be fine, but his lack of experience is kind of obvious, but he'll get better at that. I want to talk about Valverde for a little bit. How good is Valverde really? Like what is this dude's ceiling? It seems like he's completely, over the last 6 months, gone from a relatively not like well known around the world player. Madrid fans have loved Valverde for 2-3 years already, but in terms of being an international superstar, it just seems like these last 6 months, especially the home stretch in the Champions League last year and the way that he's scoring goals this year, what is his ceiling? How good do you think Valverde actually is?
I think Valverde can be great. I don't exactly know what his ceiling is. I think you might think it's higher than it is. But I think that very much depends on whether he gets played in his position or not. I think that eventually he will be, but the first sub for Madrid is always a winger and then Valverde to the middle every single time. And so Camavinga first sub out, Asensio in, and then Valverde right to the middle. It's clear that they know that's where he should play. Even though I guess the experience of him being on the wing just gives him that many more tools. His service coming in from the wing is great. His vision is great, even if it's not, a service into the box. It's a service that's putting a player into the box or leading him into the box. So even if it's not a cross, it's a pass that's still dangerous. And, it can go across the entire field, split defenders, doesn't really matter. And, at that kind of angle, when you're hitting that kind of angle from the wing, it's a much tighter window to get it in, especially because, the defenders are more spread out across the line. So I think he has a lot of quality and I think that he can be great, but I don't think that I'm really going to get a sense of how great he can be until he's consistently playing in the mid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Ancelotti has a quote from, because dude, last year I knew how good Valverde was, but that
was the other thing I wanted to say real quick. Like, even as a Barca fan, like I was telling y'all, like you should be starting this kid, like, or you should be playing this kid a lot more. I remember there was a few games, I don't know if it was last season or the season before, where he was like coming in as a sub, and I was just like, why isn't he playing? Like he should be playing. I know, Casemiro, Modric, Cruz were younger then, but even then, I was like, you guys should be playing this kid a lot more.
Yeah, and now that he's coming through with the end product consistently, he's becoming like you can't drop him. You cannot drop him from the starting 11. Yeah. And Ancelotti has a quote. Apparently, at the beginning of this season, he told Valverde something along the lines of, "If you don't score at least 10 goals this season, I'm retiring from coaching," or something like that. Because the potential has been so clear, and now he's had even his long shots. Last season, he hit the post at least 4 or 5 times from a long shot. And now the goals are just going in now. So I think it's well-deserved from him. I'm super excited from him.
I think it's interesting that what forced him into the lineup was you guys playing him as a winger. Because before that, he wasn't a regular starter anywhere. And so maybe it was last season that I was telling you guys, or telling you this, that like y'all should be starting him. But yeah, it's funny that that's what took him to break into
And
the
he's
lineup.
an all-around player. He
Yeah,
does
absolutely.
everything.
But I just think it's funny that it took him playing out of position, and I guess that happens to a lot of players just in their careers. But like, it took you guys playing him on the wing to realize, oh, this needs to be our center mid. Like,
And he sees the opportunity and he's not
and he
letting
takes
go.
it. Yeah,
He's
he
not
takes
letting
it.
go. Last person I kind of want to give a shout out to, obviously, is actually Ancelotti. Obviously, Madrid didn't have their greatest performance, but I think there is a lot of credit, especially in terms of man management. Like, okay, in the last La Liga game, there was this big fiasco with Asensio was supposed to play, but then we had an injury and we had to use our third substitution window. So then Asensio couldn't come on and he got super mad on the bench. And then Ancelotti brings him in early in the second half today, gives him his goal, bang. And then also in the Celtic game, Hazard had a good game. And even though we all still had doubts about Hazard, Ancelotti gave him respect for having a good performance and put him to start in the next La Liga game versus Mallorca. So I just want to give credit to Ancelotti in terms of man management, keeping the team happy, and particularly those players like Asensio and Rodrigo that at the beginning of the season were seen as more coming off the bench than actually being starters. He's been able to get them involved and keep everyone mentally focused and plugged into the team. And it showed yesterday. Like you put in Asensio, who hasn't played a lot, but he has quality and is going to be vital for us, especially when injuries like Benzema happen. He could have a big role this season.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, to be honest, I don't think you guys ever should have fired him. I thought it was a pretty rash decision. It wasn't even like a horrible season that he had when
No, it wasn't.
When you guys fired him. I don't remember exactly what you guys
I think we got semifinals in the Champions League.
Yeah, you guys got like semis. I'm like, you came in second in the league, maybe even won it. I'm not sure, but yeah, like it's not like it was a bad season. Then all of a sudden he's fired in favor of Rafa Benitez, who got fired halfway through the season, and then desperation hired in Zidane, and now it's back to Ancelotti, and guess what? You guys are right back to normal. So I don't think he should have been fired. He's a great coach. I don't think anyone's ever complained about him, really. So yeah, that's fair. What I will say though, and this is another criticism. Are you worried about the defense of Madrid? Because
yes,
I'm not. Because I like, just in general, obviously Nacho's in there now. He was there for the game. Militao, is he hurt?
Yeah, Militao's hurt.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, so it's forcing Alaba to go to the wing, and then or Mendy. And by the way, I was surprised by the Alaba sub. I didn't think that was going to happen, but Alaba did look tired.
He didn't have a great game yesterday.
He did look tired in the game, and so like I don't blame him for being subbed. I'm surprised by it. I didn't think that he would ever be one to get subbed, but when he when he did get subbed out, I was like, I get it. But yeah, maybe, and even when he did go back into the middle, I still think it wasn't the best performance I've seen from Madrid defense. I feel like over the course of the season, surprisingly, what's gotten a little bit worse is the defense.
No, yeah, the defense is kind of a concern, and it's funny that in Champions League and in the Super Cup, so we've had 3 European games so far, all clean sheets. We haven't conceded a single goal, but especially in La Liga, we haven't held a clean sheet in La Liga. So, and teams are creating big opportunities against us. Obviously, we have the safety blanket of Courtois in goal, but the defense, it is concerning. That being said, yesterday was not our starting defense. Personally, like versus Atletico on the weekend.
The only person not really starting is just Militao.
Well, Militao, and for me, me, I think Alaba is a center back for us.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, that's true.
So we normally would have had Mendy on the left and Alaba in the middle. So like this is my thing, right? I'm anticipating that over the weekend versus Atleti, we're gonna play with Carvajal, Rudiger, Alaba, and then Mendy on the left. So that to me seems more like our starting defense, and then obviously Rudiger and Militao will sub in and out.
I actually think that Rudiger's been doing a pretty decent job,
No,
manning up
Rudiger is
that middle
playing
spot.
well. Rudiger is playing well.
So I don't know. Obviously, you're not just going to bench Militao, but I think that when Militao does come back, it's going to be a little bit more of a competition for that spot because obviously you have to give Militao respect for everything that he's been through with Madrid. But at the same time, if Alaba is your starting center back, no matter what, I don't know. Rudiger has been playing pretty well. I know he had a slow start to the season, but I think that since he's been being called on, he's done a good job. Obviously, as a whole, the defense is a little bit shaky and sometimes they look asleep at the wheel. But I think Rudiger, I don't think he's the cause of that. Like he's played pretty well in my opinion.
But also part of the Madrid play style, it's inherent that we're going to leave spaces for the opposition to exploit.
Yeah, but you didn't normally see this many chances being taken on Madrid. Like all the games look like the opponent is in the game.
To me, it seems a lot of times on defense, Madrid is playing as individual defenders rather than defending as a unit. It's like
I agree with that.
I agree with that. It's like Militao with an amazing one-on-one stop on a breakaway, and then obviously Courtois, the most prominent defensive player we've had. Just the amount of times that he saves us. There's lack of organization on the defense, but with the firepower that Madrid has, a lot of times we're able to get out of it. That being said, as the season progresses, I would like to see improvements on the back line.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's still early in the season too. So, we got to see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I actually wanted to talk a little bit about Leipzig and their performance because I actually thought they played pretty well.
This was supposed to be on paper our hardest opponent in the group, I would think.
Yeah, but like hardest.
And out of our super difficult group, yeah.
Yeah, but like hardest for Madrid and their group.
They have good players,
They do, and
they have
actually,
good players.
I did want to touch on this. For all the criticism he's gotten over the last couple years, Timo Werner balled out yesterday.
He plays good for Leipzig, but not for anybody else.
Well, the only other place he's been is Chelsea. Yeah. But he played good. Like I was very impressed, not only in him making space for himself, putting in good service into the box, but he had some decent chances at assists as well that Leipzig didn't put away.
There's no finish though. That's the difference.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's kind of the thing I wanted to mention to you in tandem with the defense is that I think Madrid kind of lucks out a bit that the individual quality of the players that their opponents have just isn't quite at that top level where they're going to be clinical finishers. Because like you said, Madrid's defense opens up a lot of chances. It looks like individual defenders versus a unit. So, and then, you have Courtois. So a lot of the chances that these players don't put away is either poor finishing or a great save by Courtois. And I thought that Leipzig had a lot of quality yesterday. And even though they didn't, dominate possession, they were still patient on the ball. They played well. They weren't rushing to get forward. They were playing back, holding the ball when they had it. And they created a lot of chances, more chances than I expected for Leipzig to create against Madrid.
Werner played well in the attack, and I also felt Forsberg was creating a lot of danger too, and Nkunku. They all played well, and they piled on the pressure on Madrid, especially early in the game. But I feel like when teams go against Madrid, half of the battle is like a psychological battle because as soon as you miss their first big chance, you're like, oh damn, we're gonna pay for that later. It's like I feel.
I think it's in a bit of a different way because I feel even after Leipzig missed the first chance, they kept coming at them. But what I will say is, and this is maybe one of the few times that I'm gonna say that like I actually truly saw the strategy of waiting for the team to tire out, like truly be like exactly what happened. Because in Madrid's first goal, the one that came in. The cross that came in, defense was kind of sagging behind the two center back. Like no one was covering the outside wing. So, and they were slow to react to get to that player. Ball comes in, finish, And then, but Leipzig did look their quality dropped in the second half. And I think a lot of it had to do with the stamina because, Madrid is now incorporating a lot more young players so they can kind of just keep going. And, other teams, smaller teams, I guess, kind of can't just spend all that money. So they kind of just got to get what they can get. And they put together great teams. But I think Madrid really did wear down Leipzig because it was a very good game. And so, pretty back and forth, even though there were moments where it calmed down. But yeah, I think that a lot of Madrid's success did come closer in that second half because that defense was tired. And I thought they played well the entire game pretty much.
No,
but then, just one little misstep and there goes the game.
the fitness is a huge element for Madrid so far in this opening, 8 games of the season, because even we have young quality players, like when you're 22, early 20s, you can run for 90 minutes. You can get up and down the field as long as you like maintain yourself and be healthy and all that. Like Valverde, Rodrigo, and Vinny, they don't stop running the whole game for 90 minutes. Tchouaméni, also a high work rate player. And having this, base of young players with a lot of energy and a lot of quality, it allows then for the veterans to get rotation around them and then go in and be sharp. So yeah, I think Madrid has a winning formula in terms of squad rotation this season. And if you can get Asensio back to last season, he was our 3rd highest scorer after Benzema and Vinny. Asensio was our 3rd highest scorer last season. I think he hit double digits. I think he had 10 goals.
All right.
So if you can recover Asensio to a level like that, like we have a lot of young players that are very quality, and that ends up being the difference when you go against a team like Leipzig, who as a unit super well, like tactically you can see that they've got the tactics drilled in, they play well, you can see exactly what their idea is, but it's the final third. That's where Madrid separates themselves from everybody else.
Can't argue with that, man.
Yeah, so we'll be back with more analysis of Madrid's super difficult Champions League group. And honestly, it should be a wrap already. We're playing Shakhtar twice in a row, which they're in second place right now with 4 points. So if we win both of those games,
that's over.
Basically have 12 points.
But it kind of has to be, it kind of either has to be wins or at least one win and a tie. I think a 1 win and a tie is the worst you can do to still guarantee going forward. Because if not, those are points that Madrid is dropping and Shakhtar's gaining.
Yeah, I mean, this group should be a wrap already.
I agree.
But yeah, we'll see you guys next time.